A constant is a number. A variable is a number with a letter attached to it, or just a letter. When you have an equation, we have never seen an equation look like this before. On both sides of the equation, you have something really weird happening. You have a variable and a constant on the left side. And then you have a variable and a constant on the right. Both sides have both things. What is going on? Here's what's happening. When this happens in algebra, this is something that I call an algebra war. And in algebra land, there are two types of people. There's a constant and a variable. And when the constants and variables mesh and they go to both sides of the land in algebra land and they meet up, they all of a sudden kind of freak out and they decide just to go to war, and they're really angry and they don't like each other very much. They're like, help us, get us out from this side. I'm stuck with a variable. And the variable is like, oh my goodness, I'm stuck with a constant. And these guys are fighting and yelling back and forth. And then you go to the other side of algebra land and it's like, oh my goodness, the 4x is mad at the 22, which is a constant. The constant is mad at the 4x. It's a mess. Here is what happens. Come to rescue the king of algebra land. For this example, I am the king of algebra land. And the king of algebra land gets to decide something very important. I get to decide what side of the equation I want to send the variable to. It is up to me to decide, and there's a little hint today, which you can decide when you get to bronze in your homework which side you want to send it to. There is really no correct, right or wrong answer. I could send the negative 3x over here, or I could send the 4x over here. Either way, it'll work. You get to decide when you start the problem, and you become the king or queen of algebra land. Here's what I'm going to decide first, and I'm going to have you think why this is probably the easiest option. I'm going to start moving the variable negative 3x to the right. And we're going to make this 20 really happy. Watch what happens. I'm going to move the 3x by adding 3x. Negative 3x and positive 3x cancel, and it makes a 20. 20 is now in constant land. He is really happy. He's by himself. There's no variable shouting at him. He is in peace. 4x groups up with 3x. They're like, yay, we have a friend. And the variable is now 7x. But the bad guy 22, the constant, is still not happy. He's like, I want out of this land. Help me go find my other constants. Let's go ahead and move him over. The goal is to get the constants on one side and the variable on the other. When you move the 22, watch what happens. On this right side, you have variable lands. On the left side, you just created constant lands. All the numbers without variables are on the left. All the variables without just plain numbers are on the right. You just created peace in algebra land. Applaud King Algebra Land. Thank you very much. There's just one last step. Once you create peace, we want to get the variable by itself. And we are going to divide by 7. 42 divided by 7 is 6. And your answer is x equals 6. Daniel. Peace in algebra land. Yeah, we don't live on Earth. We live in algebra land. When solving equations with variables on both sides of the equation, we should move all of the variables to one side and all of the constants to the other. Quick turn and talk odds. Tell your even partner, what is a constant? Odds, what is a constant? Go. 3, 2, 1. What is a constant? Quick clarification, Logan.
A constant is a number with no, it's without a letter next to it.
Without a letter or a variable. Quick turn and talk evens. What is a variable? 10 seconds. Go. Love the eye contact from row 4. Nice job. You can just check with them because Corbin's not here. 3, 2, 1. What's a variable, Lauren?
A variable is a letter next to another.
Great. So our goal today is to separate all the variables to one side. It can be a 2x, it can be a 3x. It just has to have some letter mixed in, and send the constants to the other side. Let's try one example. Example 2, I have negative 7w equals 3w plus 2. I'm looking at this problem, and right now the variable land is pretty peaceful over here. I'm going to go ahead and send the variable to the left. Because there's already a variable here, you'll start to notice some tricks that we can make that just make our lives a little simpler. Negative 7 and negative 3 is negative 10. You now automatically have peace just with one move. Sometimes it'll happen like that. The 2 is happy, the negative 10 is happy. Let's finish this problem off. Daniel. Sure. Let's look at that closely. You have 2 over a negative 10. If it was like this, Daniel, yeah, you would have the right answer. Try it again. We have a fraction, Daniel. If I have 2 over 10, I can't actually divide. I have to make it a simpler fraction. So if you take 2/10, you would divide by 2 and make negative 1/5. Jameson. Question. Okay. Rewrite the you try problem. We're going to do this one partially together, partially on your own. When you have a number outside parentheses, what do I need to do first, Liliana? 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times 1 is 4. Now that it's simplified, we can start moving things around. You have a decision to make as the king or queen of algebra lands. Do I want to move the 2x to the right or the 8x to the left? Both will work. Do I want to move the 2x to the right or the 8x to the left? Daniel, give me your thoughts as king of algebra land. Why? Okay, because it's cool. You could choose that. Anyone have a logical, more mathematical reason? Daniel. Yeah. Okay, that would work. 8 in hands. That's your first. But what if I did this? You don't have to actually solve on the right what I'm about to write, but I want you just to look at it. So keep going with the way Daniel told us. But what if I subtracted 8x to both sides? I'm the king of algebra land. I could do that. I get negative 6x minus 8 equals 4. That's a legal math move, and it'll work to get my answer. Let's go back to our original problem. If I move the 2 to the right, I get negative 8 on the left, and 6x plus 4. Why would I prefer to move the 2? Look at your 6x. What happened? Daniel. When I'm moving the variable, as king of variable land, I really like positive numbers. If I can make the variable positive, that's usually my go-to. It's not always going to be positive. Sometimes you'll be forced to make it be a negative number. But if I have that option, this is the route I want to take. Let's finish this problem, but then let's check if that method would work too. If I do all the steps right, it should get the same answer. I moved the variable to the right, so we have one more step to make peace with algebra land. What's my next step, Reese? Yeah. I want to get the variable by itself. What number do I have to move? Okay, let's subtract it to both sides. 6x equals negative 12. Divide by 6, x equals negative 2. Okay, you don't have to write this, but just watch my screen as I finish this problem. If I did it right, we should get the same exact answer. Negative 6x equals 12. Divide by negative 6, and you get x equals negative 2. Either way will work. You have the choice as king or queen of algebra land where you want to start. Go to bronze. Set up the first one, rewrite it at the top. Discuss the first step with your partner. We're going to huddle up whole class in the next minute. What's the first thing you're doing with this problem? Go. Three, two, one. What's your first step gonna be, Silent Hands? Cameron. So let's move algebra land to the left and constant land to the right. Raise your hand if you did something different. What did you do, Paige?
I moved the 5.
Great. Both ways work. You can decide whichever way you want to start with. It does not matter. It will get the same answer. Let's work with the left one for now and see what we get. 3p minus 1 equals 20. I need to make constant land to the right, so I add 1. You should get p equals 7 as your answer. Let's check this one and see if we actually get the same answer with that different first step. We should if we did everything correctly. Subtract 20 on both sides. Negative 21 equals negative 3p. Divide by negative 3, and you get a positive 7. Both work. Either way will be fine. Try number 2. Oh boy. Cross out number 3. Try number 2. Then skip to 4. You are crossing out number 3 for today. That is tomorrow's lesson. Start on number 2. Pencil up. Clean start. Partner work for 5 minutes. Go. Cross out 3. Do number 2 right. What's 4 times 5?